Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 13 of the Totally Innocent Podcast. My name is Alex Reich, and I'm your host with the most. Today we're talking about Stephen Port, a murderer and rapist who was evidently on MasterChef back in the day, and that's absolutely outstanding. Do you smell what the murderer is cooking? Okay, spoiler alert, this episode is a recipe for murder, okay, and murder is always on the menu. I apologize. My wife has been binging Deadly Women lately, and Candace DeLong actually fucking kills me. I guess that's why they call the show Deadly Women. Okay, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. And for those who didn't know, actually, Candace DeLong is actually third cousins with punk rock superstar UFO expert Tom DeLong. Okay, in my research, I was able to find a Christmas card of the DeLong family from 2001 that reads, it's got, like, Tom is in the front, he's got, like, big alien glasses on, and his family is surrounding him to the sides, and it says, where are you? You can actually see it. And Candace is off at the back left row, mouthing the words, I'm so sorry. And that is, of course, a bold-faced bullshit lie. And that is why I love it that you come back week after week. I have analytics. You can't hide from me. I know exactly who you are. We have a couple announcements this week. You can head on over to Twitter and follow us over there at Canceled Cult 1. You already know the story. I'm not going to go into it. Someone took the handle, got banned, can't use it. Fine. Over on Facebook at Cancel Cult or Facebook.com/Cancel Cult over there. We have a YouTube channel that I'm super far behind on. That you can find by searching Cancel Cult Productions on YouTube. Yes, search. We're nobodies. We don't have a custom URL as of yet. Stop asking. You ask every week. You want something read on the show? Want to tell me something that I got wrong? Like we do have a listener comment here to read later on. You can send an email to cancelcultproductions@gmail.com, or you can tell me who to cover next. Anything that you want. Yes, it is in fact true. TotallyInnocentPodcast.com is now live, and you can actually go over there, find the latest posts, latest episodes, listen to the podcast right from the website. We have a support feature where maybe you want to support Cancel Cult Productions. We have a Patreon set up. If you want to support this podcast, there is a support button on anchor.fm/totallyinnocent. And you can support monetarily that way if you like. Or if you want to start your own podcast, I actually have some Amazon affiliate links on the website to where you can get microphones, audio interfaces, things like that. And then, of course, we have some merch options available for anybody. I doubt anybody wants them at this moment of the podcast. But if anybody wants them, we have a Totally Innocent logo hoodie, Totally Innocent cover tee, so the cover that you see in your player. We have a Totally Innocent logo beanie and Grandma Jude's special mug. You can pick that up over there at TotallyInnocentPodcast.com. So yeah, today we're looking at Stephen Port, MasterChef extraordinaire. Murder is always on the menu. I don't know why Candace DeLong talks like that. I really don't. Every episode, she always has to sound like this. And it absolutely bugs me. I was telling my wife that show is absolutely terrible, and she should watch America's Most Wanted. So I went to try to find America's Most Wanted. You could only find season 1. Are they trying to get rid of America's Most Wanted? I mean, in a literal sense, they probably are. But in terms of the TV show, I can only find season 1 anywhere. Streaming, I can't get on Amazon and buy the subsequent 25 seasons of the show. Where is it? Where is it? If somebody knows, let me know. Send me an email at cancelcultproductions@gmail.com. Now, before we hop into the intro here, I did want to read. We had a listener comment posted on the Casey Anthony story that we did. That was episode 2, so just a really super long time ago. This comment is from Natasha, and she says, "Dear Cancel Cult, Casey Anthony was seen by several doctors during the trial to confirm whether or not she had any mental issues or disorders. They each said that she was of sound mind. Yet Jose Baez, her lawyer, goes on to talk about how she was so distraught from her father and brother abusing her that she created a fantasy world to live in which she made up people that didn't exist in order to cope. So which is it? You can't have it both ways. She either was or wasn't competent in her mind. Never mind that Casey herself told her father in the jailhouse visit, you can see on JSC Criminal Psychology in the interview interrogation there, that he was a great father and grandfather, and that Kaylee was lucky to have had him in her life. Notice that she did say past tense when she was referring to Kaylee when she was talking to her dad. It should also be noted that George and Lee both took paternity tests, and neither of them were the father of Kaylee, so that must be something that I got wrong in the case there. This case has so much BS in it that my head wants to explode. While I think that ethically Mr. Bays sucked as an attorney, he did a great job in confusing the jury enough to get an innocent outcome. I just have one question. Jose Bays, how do you sleep at night? Pretty good? Like Casey? All of this is pure manipulation by Casey and her lawyer, but I disagree. After all, it's a beautiful life, according to Casey. Eye roll emoji, allegedly. Okay, Natasha, she's out walking around right now. Okay, we don't want, allegedly. We'll say that. So let's take a look at the case of Stephen Port for episode 13 of the Totally Innocent podcast. I can't believe we're at episode 13 already. That's blowing my fucking mind. Okay? Stephen Port. He's known as the Grinder Killer, and we will find out why as we hop in and transition over to the introduction for Stephen Port. I'm trying to do the Candace DeLong thing. It's not working out. I'm just going to talk like a normal fucking human being. Okay, let's run it. Let me set the scene real quick. You're laying in bed one night listening to Totally Innocent thinking, God damn it, this podcast is so good. I wish I had the skills and the talent to make a podcast the way that Alex does. Well, you might not have the talent, but you do have the technology. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. Number one, it's free. Number two, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Number three, Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you for free so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can even make money from your show. No minimum listenership is required. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Okay, so let's preface this introduction by just letting me tell you that my dad is a great cook, okay? Just a fantastic cook. His burgers are, well, they're not to die for, okay? But in Stephen Port's case, they probably were, all right? Stephen Port was born in 1975. He is a convicted British rapist and serial killer upon time, responsible for murdering at least 4 men and committing multiple rapes in the 2014-2015 era, okay? Because I don't know what to call that, right? Like you say early 2000s, what does that constitute? Okay, like the first 5 years, maybe. But being 2021, you can't really say late 2000s, because I would say late 2000s would be like 2092 would be late 2000s, okay? So this happened in 2015, 2016. He was convicted in 2016, I think. Port received a life sentence with a whole life order, whatever the fuck that means, on 25 November 2016, might. Okay. Oh, bruv. I'll say bruv when I'm trying to do a British voice. Not to be insensitive to British and Australian listeners alike, but your accent is exactly the fucking same, except one of you says mate in a really exciting. Here's what it is, right? And we'll get back to Stephen Port in a second, but I feel like this needs to be said. The Australian accent versus the British accent. Australian is just always fucking excited about everything. Okay? And I feel like the British accent is a little more posh, right? A little more posh. Head on down to the pub, bruv. You know? Whereas Australians are like, well, put a fucking shrimp on the barbie, mate. All right? Fuck yeah. They're just always excited about everything. So I apologize that my accents, they collide. Okay? They collide. So he was given a whole life order, whatever that means, on 25 November 2016, bruv. Meaning he will not be eligible for parole and is unlikely to be released from prison. Police announced that they are now investigating at least 58 deaths connected to the use of, holy shit, gamma hydroxybutyric, or GHB, in response to the Port case. And that is 100% accurate. Dude, my dad probably watched this guy on TV. All right, because everything that he knows how to cook, he learned from Food Network. British people, I don't know if you have that. That is essentially a network on the telly where all it is cooking and food. And MasterChef was on there. Okay, I don't know what channel it would be. Probably on BBC, because everything's on BBC in England. Okay? But yeah. Whereas my dad learned how to make a killer burger, Stephen Port learned just how to kill people. I was going to try something, and it just didn't. I felt like it wasn't going to stick the landing, so we just stopped. All right? So now we're going to hop on over and see what we can find on the early life of this fucking asshole. See what his childhood was like, maybe. We'll see what we can find. I don't know. I'm learning as you do. So let's do that. Hop on over to the early life. What is that? Was I excited? Was I Australian for a second? We're gonna take a look and see what his early life was like. The early life of Stephen Port. Let's hop over there. I want to set the scene for you real quick, okay? I just bumped the table. You're gonna hear a little boo on the mic, okay? But let me set the scene here. It is Christmas morning. Okay, and I am, let's just, for the sake of the argument, say 12 years old. Okay, at the age of 12, I was excited for Christmas still. I knew Santa wasn't real, spoiler alert. Yeah. But I always like to wake up, go downstairs to the Christmas tree, and find out what was under there for me, right? Because Christmas is all about presents. Okay. Now, on this day, let's just say I'm 12 years old, and I'm recording a podcast that is all about true crime and use very foul language most of the fucking time. And I wake up on Christmas morning and I head down to the Christmas tree to find a box. And it's wrapped, and my parents are asleep. My sister's asleep, but I'm gonna open that fucking box and see what's in there. And you open it up and you find out that Stephen Port was born in Southend-on-Sea, right? Like on Tyne. Oh my fucking God. I love British people all the time. So Port was born in Southend-on-Sea. When he was a year old, he moved to Dagenham in Essex, where he grew up, where his parents still live to this day. He was described as being a loner type and was often bullied at school during his childhood. That is unfortunate. Former teachers also described Port's personality as quiet. He was very reserved. He didn't speak to the other kids much. His neighbors described him as having a peculiar, childlike personality, probably because he's a fucking child, if I'm being honest. They also said that he would exhibit odd behavior as a grown man as well, such as playing with children's toys. Fuck you. First of all, I buy Funko Pops all the fucking time. Not anymore. Not so much anymore. I'm still an avid gamer. I got some action figures that are displayed for collection purposes. I guess I'm not playing with them, so maybe I'm not a serial killer. But what if I was? Allegedly. A former romantic partner of Port's, also described his personality as childish and gave that as a reason for ending their relationship. I am sorry, honey. I am also very childish. I might be a serial killer. He came out as gay in his mid-20s. After leaving high school, he enrolled at an art college but dropped out. I don't see a crime there. I see that as probably saving his life. He lived alone in a flat in Barking, London. I envision them using, I know that Barking is the name of the town, but I just imagine a British person taking, because their slang is so different, taking the word fuck and replacing it with bark. Okay, so he lived alone in a Barking flat in London. He worked as a chef at a stagecoach bus depot in West Ham. Port also briefly appeared on an episode of the television show MasterChef. Okay, so I bumped the mic. I apologize, because I thought this guy was just famous, and clearly he is not. He briefly appeared on an episode of the television show MasterChef. I read that as Master Chief. He was described as having an athletic appearance at the time of the murders due to regularly going to the gym, but was also balding and disguised this by wearing a blonde wig in public. Fantastic. So, yeah, I feel kind of dumb now, because I actually thought, like, when I was looking at articles and stuff, it's like the MasterChef alum, the serial killer that appeared on MasterChef. And so I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, this guy is famous, and he's also a serial killer. Turns out he briefly appeared in one episode, couldn't make the cut, so they put him on the chopping block. And after that, murder was most definitely on the menu. So yeah, anyways, we're going to take a look at, what's his name? Stephen Port's crimes. See, I thought he was so famous, and now that I know he's a nobody, I forgot his fucking name. We're going to take a look at the crimes, the trials, the conviction, and find out what good old Stephen Port is up to now, bruv. And then we'll get you out of here on your lovely Wednesday afternoon. Actually, a little side note, too. I am recording this hot off the heels of the last episode. See, I just recorded this, and I don't even know what episode it was. Susan Wright, because I am actually the day that this episode airs, in 2 days, my wife and I will be on vacation to an undisclosed location because there's an active serial killer in the area, allegedly. So I'm not going to tell you where I'm going. I might have already told you where I'm going, but I'm not going to tell you in this episode. But we're going to be on vacation, so I'm recording this episode and another episode this weekend so as to not miss any episodes. So we're going to do that. Anyways, I do that stupid fucking breathing thing again where I go like completely stupid for a second. Anyways, we are going to hop on over into the crime and the trial of Stephen Port. We're actually going to read an article from A&E explaining his crimes, and then we'll get into the trial stuff and, of course, the conviction, where they're at now. And then we'll get you out of here on your lovely Wednesday afternoon. Let's fucking run it. I actually hope I don't offend people from, like, England and Australia when I try to do the accents of the killers from those regions of the world, because it's all good fun. Okay, it's all in good fun. I'm glad you're here. I hope you keep coming back. We're going to read an article from ANETV.com talking about Stephen Port's crimes, okay? And the way that it reads is very, very much how you would expect it to. So let's start here. Stephen Port had a type: young gay men, preferably unconscious, while he raped them in his apartment in Barking, East London. Yikes. Careless police work enabled the serial killer to carry on undetected for years. By the time he was caught, he had murdered 4 men with an overdose of the date rape drug GHB, also known as G. I'm going to call it G, I think. Between 2012 and 2015, the Grindr killer, Grindr for the app, okay, not a meat grinder as I thought it might have been. Definitely not that. Evidently, he was finding his victims on the application known as Grindr, Tinder's LGBTQ. Would that be the correct thing? I don't want to fuck that up. Grindr is typically for gay men. I believe so. And maybe women. So yes, between 2012, 2015, the Grindr killer, as he became known, drugged 7 others, raping most of them. He then constructed wicked and monstrous lies to cover up the crime. The Central Criminal Court of England and Wales found in November 2016 most of his victims were strangers that he met on the Grindr app. Before his heinous crimes were revealed, Port lived an unremarkable life. He was just fucking boring as shit, with his highest claim to fame being seen working as a chef in the background of an episode of Celebrity MasterChef. Yeah, I got a little giddy there. I apologize. That's hilarious. As a schoolboy growing up in suburban East London, Port was so tall and skinny, his classmates called him Stretch. Hey, good old Stretch there, bruv. Head on down to the pub. Maybe you want to play some basketball, because we got good old Stretch on the team. Could just drop the ball in the bucket. He was so quiet, his teachers thought he was deaf. He had to drop out of art school because his parents couldn't afford it. That's unfortunate for his parents. I feel bad for the parents. It makes me incredibly giddy that they basically say, prior to the murders, this guy's just a fucking nobody. Later, when his family learned he was gay, his parents were crushed. That's not acceptable. His mother wanted grandchildren, adoption, surrogate. Come on, Mom. Come on, Mom. His older sister was more supportive, claiming she always knew he was gay because of the posters of male celebrity crushes, including the boy band Boyzone he hung up in his bedroom. Hey, dear, do you think our boy's gay? No, honey, why would you say that? Oh, Justin Bieber has his shirt off on a poster in the little lad's room. That's probably nothing. But his family didn't know the alternative world Port had constructed on social media, where he claimed to be a former member of the Royal Navy who became a special needs teacher after attending Oxford University. That is basically Tinder Grinder 101, online dating 101 in general. Lie. In reality, Port worked the night shift as a chef at a bus garage, occasionally moonlighting as a male escort. Hot. Years spent at the gym have paid off. He had developed a six-pack, and he hid his balding head beneath a 900-pound or $1,300 blonde wig. I could do so much more with $1,300, dude. All of us are going to lose our hair at some point, or our hairlines recede. You know what doesn't recede? I have no idea. I'm asking. As Port grew older, he pursued twinks, or boyish-looking gay men in their late teens or early 20s. He developed a taste for chemsex using mephedrone or meow meow and ecstasy. Yet he had childish desires. After his arrest, Port corresponded with Cody Lachey, a former criminal who now campaigns for prison reform. I know I am a big kid, Port wrote from prison, claiming he missed watching Minions and wanted the latest Star Wars toys delivered to his cell. He also wanted an autograph from Adam Driver because he is the sexiest Sith Lord there ever was. He described how a boyfriend had left him because Port liked to frequently visit Toys R Us. We mentioned that in the intro. His love interest of this story decided to leave him because he was too childish. I like Toys R Us. Fuck you. Am I a serial killer? You'll never know. He was very childlike. Lachey tells A&E Real Crime. This wasn't a master criminal at work here. He sucked at life. He sucked at being a criminal. He cheated and used drugs to knock his victims unconscious. He didn't actually put the work in. So I am advocating for prison reform. This guy's not a criminal. He's a fucking idiot. Yet this quote-unquote big kid, Port, is 6'3" and wears a size 13 shoe. He committed horrible crimes. He found his victims on dating apps and websites and invited them home. At first, he drugged them, and then he would rape them. Then he graduated. I'm going to read that as Candace DeLong for a second. He found victims on dating apps and websites and invited them home. At first, he drugged and raped him. Then he graduated to murder. That is absolutely dumb as fuck. In June 2014, Port met Anthony Walgate, a 23-year-old fashion student, through the website sleepyboy.com and hired him as an escort for the night. Oh, my goodness. I love British everything. When Walgate arrived, Port gave him an overdose of G and raped him. He then planted a bottle of the drug on the dead body and dragged it outside his apartment building. Port then told emergency services that he had seen a young man fall unconscious while driving past. A police investigation found that he was lying, but after he claimed Walgate had died from self-administered drug overdose, he was convicted of a minor offense and released on bail. Oh, yeah, it didn't have much to do with it, right? Hello? On August 2014, he struck again. This time, his victim was 22-year-old Gabriel Kavari, a Slovakian who had recently moved to London. Port invited Kavari to move into his apartment and then drugged, raped, and murdered him. The crime was nearly identical to the Walgate murder, but his lies to cover it up grew bigger. Port told a friend that Kavari had gone to Spain where his ex-boyfriend Thierry Amadio lived. Meanwhile, he let Kavari's body lie in his apartment for a few days, rotting, before moving it one night to a church courtyard nearby. The police dismissed his death as an accidental drug overdose. Fuck! In less than a month, Port would use exactly the same technique to rape and kill 23-year-old Daniel Whitworth, a chef he met on the dating site fitlads.com. Head on down to fitlads.com. Port then created an elaborate backstory to connect the two deaths and erase his own role from them. He first deposited Whitworth's body in the exact spot in the church courtyard as Kavari and planted a fake suicide note on him. The note claimed that Whitworth had accidentally given an overdose of G to Cavari and, overwhelmed by guilt and remorse, took his own life. To cement this narrative, he went a step further, using a fake identity on Facebook. Port fed lies to Cavari's ex-boyfriend Amadio in Spain. He told Amadio that Cavari had met Whitworth at a sex and drugs orgy. He suggested that Whitworth killed Cavari and then committed suicide. Amadio passed on the information to the police, and John Pappy, a friend of Cavari, who was a witness in the case, the police believed the suicide narrative and didn't investigate any further. They are quoted here saying it's disturbing, vindictive, malign, psycho madness to murder someone and then to engage with their former boyfriend. It goes beyond someone trying to cover their tracks. It's an insight into what a monster he is. And they are talking about Port here. This is after he was caught. In the months after these murders, Port drugged and raped several more men he met on Grindr, as well as some of his long-term boyfriends, and even filmed these encounters while his victims were unconscious. The police found 83 such home videos on his cell phone. Holy shit. Long-term boyfriends. You had to do this to long-term boyfriends? You were so boring that your long-term boyfriends didn't even want to fuck you, dude? You are a piece of shit. An absolute piece of shit. Let's see here. Almost a year after he had murdered Whitworth, Port met Jack Taylor. That sounds like the front man in a rock band. A 25-year-old forklift driver. I was completely off the rocker on that one. They met on Grindr. What followed was a now familiar pattern of drugging, rape, and murder, ending with a staged drug overdose at the same church courtyard. That's what the police had to be saying. Why are all these people killing themselves in the church fucking courtyard? It was only in November 2015 that police arrested Port and connected him to all of the murders after they had missed multiple opportunities to stop his crimes in the past. They initially dismissed this murder as an accidental drug overdose as well, but Taylor's sister campaigned to get the police to investigate the man seen in CCTV footage walking with the victim a day before he turned up dead. That man was Stephen Port. The police should be embarrassed, says Pappy. That was the guy that Amadio told the information to. When you think they had him in after the first death, you know he is not someone equipped to outsmart a police detective. Okay? He should have never made it to 4, and that's true. A fresh inquest, whatever the fuck that means, to examine all 4 deaths and any police failings will take place in January of 2021. So that already happened. Ooh, drama. Port, meanwhile, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. So we know the conviction, but I want to take a look at what the trial was actually like, if we can find anything there. So we will hop on over to that and look into that stuff now. But ooh, this is juicy. I like this. So yeah, he wasn't famous. He was a nobody before he was murdering people. Evidently, he was a nobody while murdering people. And evidently, I think he's a nobody now. So we'll find out what he's doing, what he's up to now later on. But right now, we're going to hop on over into the trial and convictions and see what happened. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, the courtroom was heated, as you can imagine it would be when grown men are putting on powdered wigs and yelling at each other. Actually, I can't really find any back and forward between the prosecution and the defense, which sadly sucks because all I want to do is listen to some old guys talk shit about each other while wearing silly powdered wigs. I don't know why you guys do that. I don't know if it's because of Her Majesty or if it's for other reasons unknown. But I think that is the dumbest fucking thing, but it's also hilarious, so please don't ever stop. On November 23rd, 2016, Port was convicted of the assault by penetration, rapes, and murder of Anthony Walgate, Gabriel Cavari, Daniel Whitworth, and Jack Taylor, the frontman of a rock band, forklift driver on weekends. As well as the rapes of 3 other men that he drugged, and 10 counts of administering a substance with intent, and 4 sexual assaults. He was found guilty on every fucking one. Yes, round of applause for the judge. In total, 11 men were victims of Port's crimes. Commenting on the case, Malcolm McAfee, no relation to world-renowned virus protection software McAfee, he was the deputy chief crown prosecutor for CPS London. He had said that over a period of 3 years, the defendant committed a series of murders and serious sexual offenses against young men. Port manipulated and controlled these men through the chilling and calculated use of the drug GHB. Can we just pause for a fucking second? Chilling, yes. Calculated, fuck no. This guy didn't calculate a single thing in his goddamn life, okay? The only thing that he's trying to calculate is how he can get Kylo Ren's fucking signature with Adam Driver with his shirt off and his lightsaber ignited. Full. Not semi-ignited. We're talking full-on, full-blown shaft. Allegedly. Adam Driver, please do not sue me. Okay, I love you. But yeah, he says calculated. No, this guy was not calculated in any aspect. The definition of calculated, Stephen Port is nowhere near this word in the dictionary. This was a technically challenging case, complicated by the significant amount of evidence taken from numerous social media sites Port used. At the Old Bailey, on 25 November 2016, Mr. Justice Openshaw sentenced Port to life imprisonment with a whole life order. And he would say here that the murders were committed as part of a persistent course of conduct of the defendants surreptitiously drugging these young men so that he could penetrate them while they were unconscious. Yes, he says, I accept his intention was only to cause really serious harm rather than to cause death, but he must have known and foreseen there was a high risk of death when it comes to this sort of thing, especially after the death of Anthony Walgate, the first victim. So, he says a significant degree of planning went into obtaining the drugs in advance and luring the victims into his flat, maybe obtaining the drugs, but no other planning went into this. Not with this fucking guy. Having killed them by administering an overdose, he dragged them out into the street in one case and took them to a church courtyard in the other cases. And that's another thing, bro. You see 4 bodies appear in the same exact spot in a church courtyard. A church courtyard. I'm not thinking, well, that's fucking sad. No, I'm thinking there's a fucking serial killer out here. Okay, chief? Okay, detective? God damn it, figure it out. Yeah, that's banana bonkers to me. I don't know how they could have been so stupid. I absolutely don't. It bugs the shit out of me that they were so fucking stupid. Yeah, so that was the conviction, obviously. I couldn't find, like I said, anything about the defense and the prosecution going back and forward, but I could imagine that there probably wasn't a lot of that. I just like to imagine grown men yelling at each other in powdered wigs. That is fucking hilarious. Don't ever change England, please. Do not. I know you're trying to break off Brexit or whatever the fuck you're doing, but please don't ever stop putting on powdered wigs and yelling at each other. That is prime time entertainment here in America. We appreciate you a lot. We love you very much. Okay, so let's hop on over and find out where Stephen Port is now. Spoiler alert, he's probably in fucking prison, but we're going to find out if he got that brand new Harry Potter Lego set or if they're just not giving him any toys. And if not, that's pretty fucked up. But we're going to find out. Let's hop on over to where they are now with Stephen Port. And it's exactly where I thought it would be, right? When we first started talking about this, I said, hey, spoiler alert, he's probably still in prison. Guess what? He is. And guess what? He did not get that Harry Potter Lego set. Good. Fuck you. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve your autograph Adam Driver with his shirt off, with his lightsaber fully blasted on. You don't deserve anything. You deserve death. That would be what I would think. Listen, man. Let me just give you a little advice here, okay? You're boring as shit, okay? Nobody wants to fuck you, not even your long-term boyfriends. It doesn't give you an excuse to drug them, rape them, and then kill them because of your boring, shitty life, okay? Yeah, I couldn't really find much of what they're up to now. I know that he's still in prison, and I know that there's supposedly this whole inquest thing that was supposed to happen in January. I don't know what's going on with that. I could not find a lot of information. But yeah, so that just is what it is. He's in prison. He's probably never going to get out. Thank God. Okay. Especially after what you did to that amazing Immaculate Church courtyard. I don't actually know if it is or not. I can just imagine. Imagine posing bodies in a church courtyard. Just imagine that for a second. Like you killed somebody and you pose their body in a church courtyard. Okay. Oh man, this is probably an accidental drug overdose. This is very sad. Cool. A month later, another one posed in a similar way in the same spot. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Oh, it looks like this guy accidentally killed the last guy, and now he took his own life. Okay, sad. But after a third one, my guy, okay, after a third one, that's getting a little sus, as the kids would say. That's getting a little sus, and something is afoot, as you would probably say in England. Something is afoot, bruv. Yeah, so sorry, Mr. Port, you didn't get your Harry Potter Lego set. I apologize. I will not be sending you one, and I hope nobody else does either. You will never get to see a Toys R Us again, sadly. Actually, happily for us. Fuck you again. And yeah, that is the case of Stephen Port. Thank you guys so much for coming back week after week. Again, you can't hide from me. I got the analytics, okay? I can see what state you're from. Not necessarily what town you're from, but I can see what state you're from. Okay, so thank you very, very much. You know, I am from South Dakota, okay? I haven't shared the podcast out on social media or anything like that, but my most listened to state, not South Dakota, actually California. So hang 10, brother. Thanks for coming back each week. New York follows that, and then followed by Florida, and then South Dakota. So I don't know what's going on, but my South Dakota peeps need to pick it the fuck up, all right? Yeah, so thank you, everybody, for listening. I greatly appreciate it. Honestly, last week, actually, when you're hearing this, it won't be last week, but the week of August 11th to August 17th was the epitome of amazing when it comes to the show. Over 90 plays on podcast platforms alone. Look, when I first started, my first week, I got 6 plays with my first episode in the first week. And then the following week, 3 plays. Went downhill. Back up to 6. Then we went up to 11, 21, 26. Went back down to 14. And then we've been on the steady climb ever since. So please, if you enjoy the show, share it with a friend. Share it with a family member. Head on over to totallyinnocentpodcast.com. And let's connect. Send me an email at cancelcallproductions@gmail.com. And let's just fucking do it, man. Let's do it. Let's take this show to the fucking moon. All right? This is GameStop at this point. And we just need to take it to the fucking moon. So let's do that. If you do that, if you share it out to a friend and family, I love it very much. Appreciate it very much. You are my actual hero. Yeah, I think I'm going to I got a vacation to get to. So I'm going to go do that while you guys are working. Sucks to suck, losers. Just kidding. I love you guys. I will see you next week. I don't know who we're doing yet, giggity, but we're doing someone giggity. All right. And it's going to be a banger. Always is. I'll see you next week. You take care.